Hello and welcome to the Kitchen Table Modelers Workshop. My name's Ian. This is my kitchen table. What have we got for you today? Well, it was a build review that I was really excited about, but you can see over my shoulder the Postal Service has had a different view on how to present a model kit to a model builder. So we'll have a look and see what's in the box. We'll see if it survived its trip. But we will actually have a look through and we'll have a review of Meng's brand new tool, F-18E, if a little crushed. We'll see how good the protection that Meng puts around their kit is. So I was excited about it. I'm a little disappointed. I don't know what like it is inside. We'll get it on the table. Enough waffling from me. I'll try and hold back the tears and we'll see what we've got in what's left of the box. Okay, so the box is on the table and I know I'm chuckling. I'm a great believer of you may as well laugh about it, because if you don't laugh about it you're only going to cry. Yeah, it's an expensive kit. Yeah, the box has been completely annihilated. So if the plastic's okay or savable, then bonus, but the actual value of the kit's been destroyed because I can't keep it in a stash, I can't present it. The only value I've got in it now is to build it, which I want to build this, so if the parts are okay, bonus. But yeah, if I wanted to keep the box top, which is a beautiful box top, I can't, it's knackered. So hey ho, you win some, you lose some, and I think I've lost in this instance. But we'll start with what's left of the box top anyway. The picture is iconic, and I always mention the box arts. It's the thing that grabs you when you look at a kit and you think, oh god, yeah, that's the one I want to build. The artwork is fantastic. It's very detailed. It's an action pose, and it just sells the kit to me. But if we look through the write-ins, so we've got 1/48 scale, kit number LS012. This product is for users age 14 and above, so it's not for children. It's ready to assemble model kit. Cement and paint's not included. This is not a toy. And it's also got here an official licensed product from Boeing. So it's got their seal of approval. Meng usually do produce really, really high quality kits. So if Boeing's approved it, then it's got to be reasonably good. What do we got? It's got a complete cockpit, wheel wells and air intakes. Kit features accurate exterior and beautiful paint schemes. The kit includes details of aircraft versions in US military service, US Navy pilot figure featuring realistic gestures, and finely replicated suit equipment is included. 2 flight helmets are provided for choice. Flaps and slats can be installed in different positions. If we can read that. With all moving tails, and rudder are movable. The specially designed pluggable pylons allow easy change of weapons. This kit includes GBU-24, GBU-16 laser guided bomb, and it includes precision stainless steel foot wedge parts without connecting stubs. So fantastic. At least we can read it. Let's have a look at the side of the box. Oh god, you can see just exactly how much damage this kit's been completely crushed in its transit. So we've got aircraft piloted by Lieutenant Commander R.J. Prescott, VFA 87 Golden Warriors, USS George H.W. Bush 2017. So it's basically the overall dark grey, light grey scheme, Navy scheme. You've got colours by AK Interactive. Fair enough, you can use any colours that you want. This is just a repeat at the top. I'm not even going to Ludo Dakir, well, yeah, the LS series. Meng models, mengmodels.com. This side here is the box art. It looks like it is, so the FA, that's a bit of a blurb. If you want to pause it, you can read it. I'm not going to read it because it'll take ages. This aircraft is piloted by Captain James McCall, Commanding Officer of Carrier Air Wing. VFA31 Felix USS George H.W. Bush 2017. So this is, when I build it, this will be the scheme I'm going to do, because I really like the black horizontal vertical tail fin, sorry, and the black spine. And this is just to repeat the other end. So there's what's left of the box. Let's get it off and have a look. So that's just a bit of sales bump in there from the company I got it from. The box is packed, but there's obviously been enough room. You can see how it's crushed down. There's a lot of sprues in here, so I'm not going to bother counting them. We'll just dive down to the bottom and we'll get the instructions, because I always usually like to start with the instructions. And then we'll take the decals out. They do seem to have survived reasonably unscathed with the photo etch. I'll leave them in the plastic, so I'll not take them out. As with the Warrior, it would seem that we've got these information cards here. So you've got pictures, and it's in Chinese and English and other languages. So if you want an info file, you've got these. They're not much use to me, but they're in the kit. It's a nice sort of marketing gimmick. Instructions, it's an A5 booklet style, colour print on the front, which is fantastic. It's nice shiny paper, and it's not too big, so it's not going to take up loads and loads of space on the modelling table. Very reminiscent of the new Airfix type of instructions, where you've got colour parts denoting the parts that have already been worked with. So basic tools, it's all in Chinese, never going to read it. There is English translation in there, but we'll go into step one, which is the cockpit. So multi-part cockpit, multi-part decals for the instrument panel, which is fantastic. Now I'm going to qualify and say I'm not an expert on modern aircraft at all. I just build them. I really enjoy them, and the F-18 is actually my favourite US aircraft, strike aircraft. So, but I'm not an air aficionado, so I'm not going to go into great detail of whether switches are right or not. It's what's in the kit, it's how I build it, and that's the end of it. Front wheel well, all the detail parts in it, two sides coming together for the front nose sections. Now, I have seen reviews of the Hasegawa kit, and it looks very reminiscent of the way that kit goes together, and I do have an Italieri late model F-18G growler, and it's a similar style of construction. So you've got the two different options here on the back for the vents, the older and the more modern ones, and you've got options here for folded wings or wings laid out for flight. Fantastic, so you've got brilliant options straight away in the kit. Full length intakes, and they go on to what looks to be detailed wheel wells, but we'll see them when we get to the plastic. Yep, so you've got detail in them. Wheel wells go into the lower fuselage section, part of the air intakes, and then the outer parts of the air intakes going on. So instruction looks to be reasonably simple so far. So moving on from there, we're going on getting the cockpit joined to the lower fuselage, upper fuselage joined to the whole assembly, and putting in the poly caps for the horizontal stabilizers, or stabilators I think they're called now. Heads up display going together, very nice. Nose section going on with the I think they are identification friend or foe antennas possibly. Again, I'm no expert, I don't know, so please correct me if I'm wrong, and I apologise if I offend anyone for my lack of knowledge, but I just enjoy these aircraft, don't know them just well. We've got the rear seat cover that would have covered where the second seat is if it was a two-seater model. Front canopy, there's the heads-up display and the front cowling going on the cockpit. And this is the option we've got here, so flaps retracted position assembly, so that's flaps up, and the forward leading slats up, and the pieces you need to cover the wing extension to the flaps for the raised position. And then obviously the next page, I would assume, yeah, here we go, flaps extended position assembly. So really nice that we've got that option of up or down for the flaps and the front edge. From there we're moving to the wings unfolded position, or you've got the detail, wings unfolded, going in, yep. So that's both sides wings unfolded. So you need to pay attention for all these little bits that you need to cut off to get the different parts in a different place. Nothing too technical, I don't think. And then this is the wings folded position assembly. So it's all well separately laid out in the instructions with good call outs of which parts you need to cut out. So just pay attention as you're building it and you shouldn't have a problem. Getting the wings folded in if you're stowing it like that. Tails don't glue, so you're going to have positionable tail rudders, which is fantastic. And same again here, you've got the polycap assembly for, oh sorry, that's still the rudder. You'll have the polycap assembly for the stabilators, or horizontal stabilizers. Right, burner cans, so you've got the exhaust nozzle and the flame holder for the afterburner, and then the rear nozzle assembly. Looking really nice. The vertical and horizontal tail fins going in, engines going in, then onto the undercarriage. They look really quite nicely detailed. You've got separate decals for it that is required to bring it really to life. Nose landing gear, and then you're attaching all these aerials, pitot tubes, greeblies if you want to call them, wheel bay flaps, and then moving on to the undercarriage assembly, which looks quite sturdy. I have to give it to Meng, it looks like they've built a really strong kit. Again, the undercarriage has got its placards on, so it's going to add an extra level of detail. Wheel well doors, and that's the aircraft finished. Then we're moving on to the armament and pylons. Now, it did say it had pins in the armament for changing weapons, and it looks like that you've got the steel pins in the pylons and then polycaps in the weapons. And if that works out fine, that's going to be brilliant for anybody wanting to either transport without knocking stuff off if you go to a show, or just simply changing stuff around. So I've just skipped there quickly. You've got the GBU's 24s and the GBU 16s, laser guided weapons, and then you've got AIM X9s and AIM 9M, AIM 120Cs, and ANAS Q228s. So that's the targeting pod, and these are your air defense missiles here. They all look very nicely detailed, but we'll see when we get into the plastic. We've got a loadout call out here for how you might position the weapons, and then finally we're moving on to the ejector seat. So you've got a three-part ejector seat with additional parachute pack and ejection handle, and again you've got the individual placard decals, which is fantastic. You can spend a bit of money buying them separate, but if they're in the kit, great. Canopy can be done in the raised position by the looks of it, and then you've got the pilot figure, and you can have the ladder, boarding ladder, in the stowed or the lowered position. So there's so many options here for either dioramas, in flight, you name it, it's possible. It's fantastic. And then from there we've got the parts call out, painting and masking application, so it looks like we've got maybe masks. Fantastic, we've got that. It's another £5 to £7 saved. And then we move on to the paint schemes, and as I said in the intro or earlier, this is the paint scheme that when I'm building it I'll be doing this, because I really like these cag birds with a bit of colour on them. So we've got here for VFA 31 Felix the cat, we've got VFA 31 Tomcatters, we have got VFA 87 Golden Warriors, and then the final paint scheme I believe is Pilot Unknown, United States Navy Strike Fighter Tactics Instructor Program 2019, so I wonder if this is like a Top Gun type theme. And then you've got the decal call out and paint call out for the weapons loadout, paint call out list, and that's your instructions. Goodness me, 14 minutes just with instructions, but everyone likes to have a look through them, see what we've got, and there's my take on them. So let's get into the kit. So first off, we have got the lower fuselage sections and what looks to be polycaps. I'm going to leave the little polycaps, which are absolutely tiny, in the bag. And a lot of people comment about Tamiya using staples, and yeah, they are a pain in the rear end for getting the bags apart. So here's the first part. Now we can see we've got a witness mark here where the plastic has been stretched. Now I'm hoping it's not done too much damage. It's quite sturdy, chunky plastic here, so hopefully it's not too out of shape, and if it is out of shape then the upper fuselage will, and the wheel wells and such, will get it back into shape. But we can see we've got Meng Part BF 2020 LS0120208. The detail is fantastic, I have to say. If I can bring it a bit closer and we'll get it zoomed in. There we go, look at the detail on that. Very fine, very in scale. These will be the chaff dispensers here. We've got vent detail in there, and that is so fine, that vent detail, that my camera's even struggling to pick it up. Beautiful, crisp. It's Meng's usual plastic, so it's that nice hard plastic. Oh, I'm really impressed with that. That's a beautiful part. Let's set that to one side, and then the next part we've got is actually the top fuselage, so let's get it out. Oh, yeah, staples. Nobody likes staples. It would have been easier if they'd heat sealed the bags and cut them a knife, but hey ho, they haven't, so it is what it is. Top fuselage again. Oh, look at that witness mark there. So this part's obviously been stretched as well. Again, it's a beefy part, so I'm really hoping it's not out of line much. It looks like we've got some really serious locating pins here, which is fantastic. There is ejector pins, but I don't think any of them are so severe that they're going to interfere with the fit. Let's just have a look and see how badly damaged stuff is. Yeah, those two obviously go in there, so really big chunky locating pins and a really bent part. Yeah, it's struggling to go in, it's that bent. Oh, it's in. There we go. So there's a few gaps, but I think once everything else is together, it gives strength to the, yeah, you can see how bent that is. Oh, right, get that clipped in. There we go. I might have been lucky. It looks to be not too bad. It's joined together. So, yeah, got a bent tab there for where the will either be the tab for extended or retracted front leading edge. So we'll just see. But anyway, let's get back to looking at the detail. So we'll get a close up, and you can see that when the light strikes it. Beautiful detailing, super fine. It's going to take a wash fantastically. It's going to help for masking if you want to do different alternate shading on the panels. It's absolutely crisp. It's even all through. If you look at the detail on the bottom, it's the same as it is on the top, so there's no variation. Really fine rivet details up the wing, really fine rivet details around the hatches, inspection hatches, all over the body. Really fine honeycomb pattern in there. It's so fine the camera's going to struggle to pick it up, but believe you me, it's absolutely exquisite detail, and it's what we've become expected to in Meng. Right, it looks like we've got the cockpit, which I'm going to get out. I might not get all these sprues out of the bags because it's going to take us all night, but the important ones I definitely will, and the cockpit is an important part of the kit. So here's the rear cover for the back seat that's not in this kit, and then there is the canopy framing for the cockpit, which is fantastic. and here is the cockpit itself, which is on top of the wheel well. And again, look at the detail in that cockpit. There we go, get a focus on that. All the switches are there. They're really, really finely molded. And if we look at the detail on the rear deck of the cockpit, it's beautifully molded. There's no flash, there's 2 ejector pins, very, very shallow. They're going to be covered by the ejection seat, so it's not a problem, they're not in the way. A beautiful, beautiful molding. I'm actually really, really impressed with that. Absolutely stunning molding, and you know, a bit of a dry brush, it's going to absolutely pop. Alright, clear parts we'll leave for last. So this is the missiles. Again, I'm not sure which ones are which, and I'm not going to get them out of the bag, to be honest with you, but they are exquisite. The fin details, very, very fine. If I can get the shine off the light. Yeah, very, very fine. Engraved panel lines where they're needing to be, raised detail where it's needing to be. Beautiful weapons. Right, next weapons, so these are the GBUs, and again, beautiful, beautiful weapons. You can see that through the bag. Look at the detail there. Absolutely exquisitely fine detail. We've got the engraved panel lines where they're needed. Separate fins for construction. They've all got really good sized locating pins marrying up into good sized holes, but you can only put them in the one way, so there's going to be no errors when you're building these. Beautiful bombs, and if you don't use them, fantastic for your spares box. And you pay a fortune for kits where you buy an extra bombs for something that you're missing. So these are the smaller GBUs. Again, fantastic detail. Raised detail where raised detail is needed, recess where recess is needed, no flash. No damage through transit, thankfully. And then, what's this? This is one of the smaller Sidewinder type missiles. Absolutely exquisite. If I can get that to focus on there, look at that. Beautiful detail you can see through the bag. Again, raised where raised needed, engraved where engraved needed. Super, super thin fins. You're not needing any resin replacements. These are absolutely adequate for what you're needing to do. Yeah, really impressed with that. Right, next sprue, which is bent like a mild banana. Oh, happy days. You can see why I am kind of chuckling away, because, you know, this is not a cheap kit by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's retailing in the UK around about the £70-odd mark. And yeah, it's a lot of money to get trashed in the post. However, yeah, you can see the serious bend that's been put in this, but I think it looks like the sprues have taken most of the brunt of this. We've got witness marks here at the front, so we might have to do a bit of repair and realign of the front air intakes. Hey ho, you win some, you lose some. However, let's look at the detail on the wheel well. So this is the front wheel well we're looking at here, and then we've got the 2 main wheel wells here. Absolutely exquisite. I'm absolutely blown away by the level of detail that's on the sidewalls, that's on the roof. You know, you've got ribbon in there, you've got rivets, you've got all the different hydraulic and electrical lines that's in the wheel wells. I'm no expert in this, but I would actually say that these wheel wells are on the same sort of level that you'd get from an air res set, or you know, something from Edard or Brassin or something like that. With the level of detail in here, this is seriously stepped up the mark, and Meng's playing with the big boys. I would say they're probably even surpassing something that Tamiya would do. We've got the front landing gear here, really stout bit of plastic, will take the weight of the model. And we've got the main landing gears here as well. Again, stout moulding, obviously with a second part moulding that's going in here for the angle joint. And if we look at it, there's no ejector pins on it. So you get very minimal clean-up, very minimal flash. Again, there's no ejector pins in any of the wheel wells, which is absolutely fantastic. Tamiya, take note. If we look inside the air intakes, there are ejector pin marks. They are a little bit flashy, but I believe they're going to clean up quite easily by the looks of them. And a little bit of filling, a little bit of sanding before you put it together, and then another quick coat of paint to give it that nice overall light white look that's inside it. You're never going to see any of it. We've got some of the wheel well doors here. We've also got the two halves of the main undercarriage wheels. Yeah, we've got all the undercarriage doors. They're beautiful details. Some pipe work here. Oh, we've got lines, latches, hatches, you know, support bars. This is the access ladder. Absolutely stunning detail on that for a kit. You know, wow. Meng knocking it out of the ballpark there. Next one, we have got the lower wing assemblies. Now, believe you me when I tell you, these are of the same quality as the upper wings. I'm not going to take them out of the bag because it is literally just the wing tips and the lower wing assemblies. But of note, these are the hinges for the raised intake section, and they've got the correct detail on, I think, or certainly looks reasonably correct for the hinges itself. So when you're going to do this, if you're going to do it as stowed away with the raised wings, it's going to be easy enough to detail it, and if you need to add the extra wiring or hydraulic lines in, it's going to be easy enough to do. And then you've got the solid wings here, which are the ones I'll be using for possibly an in-flight display. Luckily there's no damage. You've got very fine trailing edge, and you've got attachment points for the missiles. None of that's damaged, so I've gotten away with that. Right, next one is tail fins. Okay, so you've got two-piece rear flap assemblies with an insert in the middle, which is fair enough. We'll take this piece out and see how it's gone. Again, this plastic's taken a good bend because it's one of the largest sprues in the box. So I'm hoping the sprue has done the bending and the parts have just flexed a bit at the attachment points and not bent with it, otherwise we could have problems. Okay, so we have got damage here to some of the flap assemblies, and they are bent if you look at them. So I have to try and straighten them out with a bit of hot water maybe. Tail assemblies, there is ejector pins. These are slightly raised, so you will need to sand these back to get a good tight fit, but nothing that any sanding stick won't cope with and any modeler with mediocre skills won't cope with. And again, there's one or two ejector pins that you need to tidy up to make sure you get a good fit. Surface detail, absolutely stunning. I am actually blown away by the quality on this kit. If I can get that a bit closer to the camera and get the glare off lights, there we go, so you should be able to see rivet lines, the luminous slime lines here, and all your receiver pods. There is the merest of a parting line on there, but once you glue them together and clean it up, you're not going to see any of it. It's so good. Oh, absolutely stunning. The detail of this kit is stunning. And again, all these panel lines are of the same type, size and general depth as everything else on the plane, so there's no mismatch of panel lines, it's all the same. Right, we have two sprues here, and they're two sprue Ds. So we've got the underwing fuel tanks, which I didn't actually notice going through the instructions, but they're here anyway for if you're doing extended flights, which is fine because everyone likes putting big tanks underneath an aircraft. It makes it look that bit more beefy. I'll just get one of these out. Yeah, I'm not impressed with the staples in the bags, but hey ho, it's just being really picky. And yeah, you can see we've got a bit of damage here on the one piece. Oh, look at that, one piece horizontal stabilizers. But the detail is so nice. I'm actually blown away by the level of detail on this kit. I really am. So this is the possibly the rear front fan, maybe. Yeah, front fan. Weapons pylons. Raised detail where we need raised detail, recessed when we need recessed. Absolutely stunning detail. Pilot figure, and for a 48 figure, you know, minimal burring on the side of him. You have, okay, so we've got open and then closed visors, so that gives you options. We've got hands that are posable. That's possibly some part of the harness there, and the oxygen tube for the open visor. But the detail's really good. I think with a bit of careful painting and a wash, that that pilot's going to come out absolutely stunning. Yeah, really impressed with that. Detail on the fuel tanks is really fine. It's even, in keeping with the rest of the model, and the nozzles are really, really nice as well. They're going to paint up lovely. And no ejector pins where you don't want them. Beautiful parts. Right, last big sprue. And this is the one I've been really worried about, because this is the one that's got all the intake exteriors at the fuselage, as well as the nose piece, which is detached from the sprue. Let's have a look and see how we are doing. Okay, here we go. Drop the nose on the floor. Right, nose piece. Cracking. Beautiful. One piece moulded, slide moulded. It's now got a cat hair on it, never mind. Absolutely stunning piece of moulding. And the sides. Oh, look at the sides of the fuselage. Beautiful detail. Sides of the front cockpit. Beautiful. Look at the... Can you, I don't know if you can see that, if I can get that in focus. There we go. Now, come on. You'll have to excuse me. All the hinge details in for all these openable hatches. You've got all this detail in here for the front parts of the air intakes. HUD. See the detail on, come on, focus. Focus, focus. Yes, look. Beautiful detail on the instrument panel. Absolutely stunning. And for the control yoke, we've got all the different types of retracted or open flap actuators. We've got the vents here, so we've got the, I don't know, the modern or the old, I don't know which one's which. Again, this is my lack of knowledge coming through. There does appear to be damage to these. The plastic may even have split with the force of the impact, but the detail is really, really nice, and probably with a bit of extra thin. You see the witness mark on that plastic. A bit of extra thin and it will seal up. Hopefully we won't get a seam, but I'd actually probably end up using these ones. Arrest the hook here, the Hud Glass Holders. There is witness marks on this where there's been stresses in the plastic. So how well this all goes together, I don't know. You can see there's some serious pressure being on this plastic parts before it's bowed the way it's bowed. So it's just a case of having to see how we get on and see what happens. Hopefully we can save it, otherwise it's a loss. Right, last but not least for the weapons, it's another sidewinders there, beautiful detailed. Again, most of it's raised detail, but that's how it would be on the real thing. We've got some glass for the front parts of the weapons, where they've needed them for optics and cameras and whatnot. And this bag full of pins, steel pins. Now this is the system they're talking about on the weapons pylons for using the polycaps and these steel pins for changing and storing weapons. Really interesting. It's the first time I've seen that on a modern jet, and I'll be interested to see how it goes together. And if it works well, well, fantastic. Not going to complain. Last but not least in there, we've got another clear plastic sprue. So some of this will be weapons and some of this may be there for the landing lights, but they all look fantastic. Now the part that I've been really worried about, open it up, is the glass. Now it's double wrapped, so you've got bag and then it's wrapped in poly wrap. Let's have a look. This is the bit that's going to be make or break, because if this is knackered, then, well, God knows what we're going to do. Certainly well enough packed. And if we look at that, you can see it's sitting in something that is protecting it. And I do notice that there is bits of plastic broken here, but that might have saved this cockpit glass. And I can't even find the damn end of the plastic to get it unwrapped. Here we go. So it's like a cling wrap, food wrap. Oh, look at that. There is the most minimal. Right, there is a bit of warping in there. but I'm going to say that in the context that it's a massive bubble canopy. You're going to get some form of distortion, but it's beautifully clear. And you've got all the rivets molded around it, so it's going to take a wash absolutely beautifully. There is a center seam that's going to need to be taken care of, but it's not very pronounced. So very, very fine scrape with a sharp blade just to get down to plastic, and then a buff out. It's going to be gone in no time at all. But that is a beautiful, beautiful, clear, crystal clear glass. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with that. And if we can unwrap the rest of this, we'll see the front cockpit glass. There we go. If I can get it open. There is the end. There's the end, right. Well, it's certainly well wrapped, I'll give them that. And that's maybe been its saving grace in this instance. It's silver wrapped, it doesn't want to come apart. Yeah, okay, so you can see, you know, the framing has broken during transit, but it's done what it's needed to do because the front canopy glass is in one piece. It is crystal clear, but, and I will say but, there's a little distortion in it. But is it something that I'm worried about? Absolutely not, no. It's fine, it's well within my critique level. You've got the Hud glasses here and other glasses. I'm not sure what they are, so I'm not going to pretend to know because I don't. There's the two Hud glasses, and this may be your port and starboard marker lights and maybe undercarriage lights. I don't know, we'll see as we build it. It survived, and I was surprised because I thought that would be absolutely trashed with the state of the kit box. And now we've gone through all the parts, let's have a quick look at the decals. I'm going to leave them in. Well, no, I'll take them out. I'm going to leave them in, but we'll take them out. We'll have a look. Now, Meng decals tend to be okay. I have built a few Meng kits, and I'm quite impressed with the decals. I built their F-35 clunky kit, but the decals are nice. Now, these are printed by Cartograph, made in Italy, so there should be no problem with them. And they're nice and glossy and uber thin with the most, I don't know if I can catch it in the light, if I can find the light slide shining the right way. You can't. But if you look, and we've got decal cockpits there. There's the, get that to focus, we've got the decals for the instrument panel, we've got slime lights, we've got all the markings, no step, all the different markings. There is some damage on the paper, so hopefully it's not damaged the decals much. They're beautiful, they really are nice. Really, really nice decals. Really, really pleased with them. And then amongst this, we're going to have the placards. Here we go. Look, we've got placards for the undercarriage and the ejector seats and that, so that's going to add another level of detail. And then we've got, as Meng promised us, we've got the weapons decals. Again, they are printed by Cartograph. Yep, made in Italy, so there's going to be no problem with them. And there's a frame gone on the floor, just in case they're not damaged enough. We'll just kill them a bit more, will we? So they're really nice. We do have a mask set. Well done, Meng. Fantastic. A mask set. That's, you know, saved as a £5. And then we've got these no attachment point pieces of photo etch. They're exquisite. Absolutely beautiful. Take note, Edard. Let's see you do that. You can actually see through the venting framing in there. It's that fine. You can see the decals through it. Look at that. Wow, amazing stuff. Right, now I've got the challenge of getting all this back in the box, so let's get it back in the box and we'll have some final thoughts. So there we go. Meng's F-18E in 1/48 scale. slightly crumpled. Thoughts, obviously gutted with the state of the box. I really was gutted. There's no way of getting around it. Every modeler gets that same anticipation when they've got a model coming, and when it arrives in the state it's in, your heart just sinks. Yes, I've contacted the supplier, and yes, I'm waiting for a response. Whether I get anything back or a discount, I don't know. That's irrelevant. It is what it is. There's nothing I can do to change it. I've still got the kit, and it looks like I can possibly build it and repair all the parts that are stress damaged. So a bit more of a challenge, more as I expected, but hey ho. Actually, the kit itself, blown away by the level of detail. I mean, exquisite, exquisite detail. Meng just gone from strength to strength, in my opinion. And I have built a number of their 1/48 scale aircraft. I've done the ME410, I've done the F-35, and I find their aircraft to be really nicely built, well, really nice to build. The level of detail seems to be improving on each kit they're bringing out. Looking at the way they've built this kit together with some of the oversized locating pins to give a real solid fit on the fuselage, fantastic. The metal pins and polycaps for interchangeable weapons, brilliant idea, simple but effective. How well it works, well, I don't know, we'll see when we get it together, but brilliant idea, giving the modeler more options. You've got photo etch with no connection parts, so no cleanup, fantastic idea. You've got a mask set included in the kit, and it was pre-cut by the looks of it. Fantastic, you know. Okay, it's a £5 to buy a set of masks, but if it's in the kit, something you don't have to buy, it's one less thing to worry about, and it shows you that the model company itself is thinking about the modeler. How can we make our product better for the modeler? Yeah, it's got a good price, 70 quid. It's a good price, but let's compare it to what the level of pricing you're paying for, say, a Hasegawa and 148 F-18. It's a similar price. So if you look at the advances in tooling and what you get in the box as opposed to the price tag, £70 actually quite a good price for that level of kit, especially when you're looking at stuff like Tammy's bringing out their new Phantom kit, retailing about £100. So I think you've got value for money there. I think Meng have absolutely hit this one on the head, square and firm. It's what I think is going to be a brilliant kit. How accurate it is, if there's inaccuracies, I don't know. I actually don't care. It looks like an F-18E. The detail is fantastic. I know Meng stuff builds well, so with a little care and attention, you're going to end up with a stunning, stunning model, and you've got so many options. You know, in-flight display because you've got a pilot. How many modern F-148 scale kits have a pilot? It's the little things that Meng have thought about that I think makes this kit well worth the investment of your money, and for the level of detail you've got and the time it's going to take you to put it together and bring this model to being a top table model. £70, it's a no-brainer. If you can afford it, press the button. If you can get a deal on it, definitely press the button, because the kit's never going to go down in price. Mine, it's worth bugger all, really. It's worth something because for the sprues, but the actual whole package is the box and that is destroyed, so it's really worth very little. But I'm happy enough that I think I can save it and put it together. But I'm more than happy with the level of detail and the little changes that Meng brings to the hobby that increase the enjoyment and the versatility of the build. So yeah, I have to give it a recommended, and if your kit comes in better condition than my kit, then you're winning straight away. So if you have any comments, drop it in the comment box below. I always take time to read and reply to all my comments, and I always appreciate anybody who takes time to put a comment on the bottom of my videos. If you've gotten to this far in the video, thank you for staying and watching the end of my video. If you'd like to like and subscribe, I'd appreciate that too. But anyway, enough waffling for me. This is Meng's 148 F-18E. My name's Ian, I'm the kitchen table modeler. Thanks for watching, happy modeling, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next video.